Okay, this is just a quick video to show what happened to my Xmaxx motor. First, I threw out some of the bearings that were right in here. The one bearing that goes on this side, it basically keeps this thing in place, the gear. So, you know, it was moving around and the bearing had shredded. Next thing you know, it's just making this horrible noise. But then when I started taking things apart, I noticed that the motor was making a noise. So I took the whole motor apart and I noticed that these little metal pieces that belong on the motor, they actually are from right here. If you look, it's damaged. It's like cracked. And then all this powdery stuff was coming off. I don't know if you can see some of that it looks like lint almost. Well, turns out that there's, well, here, I'll show you some down here. All that. So what happened was, it turns out that this yellow thread that's on here goes all the way down to this end, and I guess just got worn out, shredded, and then when that shredded, it started to shred the actual metal that's like the casing. And looks, I mean, it's cracked, it's beat up. You can see there's chunks missing. So I was gonna fix this thing and sell it, but these motors are like almost $300. So now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick this back in here, because this casing, it looks fine. If you look inside there, it looks okay. Oh, also, when it's in there in place, it kind of wiggles a little bit. If you move it, you can move it a little bit. So there's a little bit of play in there, and it makes a grinding noise. I'm thinking if I just put a whole bunch of grease in there, I mean, it's ruined anyways, right? Put a whole bunch of grease in there and see if I can run it. But I think, long story short, I need a new motor. And I mean, yeah, I drove this thing pretty hard. I have definitely submerged it several times. I've gotten this thing probably in 5 feet of water and still tried to run it when it was in there, which was probably stupid on my part, but it was still receiving signals. So I figured, hey, let's see if I can get it out of the pond without me, you know, going in there and digging it out. And now I'm gonna have a pretty expensive fix, which I was thinking I was gonna sell this one right now because of the whole coronavirus. People are buying these things up like crazy, and I figured I could probably get 800 bucks quick cash and then maybe buy a new one and just start all over, or just pocket the money. I don't even know, because I mean, I've gone through tires, I've shredded tires, I've done a whole rebearing job on this whole Xmaxx. I have taken everything apart, because one time I ran it in this really loose watery mud, and the mud, I didn't rinse it off right away. I don't think it would have made a difference, but I didn't get the mud off. I let it sit overnight, and then the next day in the sun, and then 2 days later I tried to run it, and this thing was so stiff you couldn't even do this. Like, even with the wrench, it wouldn't move, it wouldn't budge at all. And if you put it on the ground with the wheels and the tires and you tried to move it back and forth, the tires wouldn't spin. Everything was seized up. So I took everything apart, cleaned it all, put all new bearings, and it was running pretty good until I shredded this other bearing, the one that I showed you earlier. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to spend probably about 400 bucks after it's all said and done, just to turn around and sell it for 800, and which is kind of a bummer. And I don't want to sell it broken. I mean, unless somebody can fix it, then I guess it wouldn't be bad. But anyways, if you guys want to see what this thing looks like, I mean, I figured that's why I would do this video, because I thought, okay, well, let me at least show people what this thing looks like. And then to get this thing out, all you got to do is it pops into place. I popped it out this way. I just yanked it out. Just like that. And yeah, I don't think this thing's gonna go too much further. Even if I apply a whole bunch of grease in there, I mean, what is that even gonna do? It's just falling apart. Unless I drive it really slow and limp it along, but it's kind of a waste. And so there is a couple bearings in there, I noticed. There's this one right here that sits inside of this little area, this little pocket. And then on the other one, where did that piece go? There's a bearing right here. And they spin fine. They move really good. But yeah, this thing is just complete toast. I could probably find a used one, but then who knows if it's doing the same thing or what's wrong with it. Why would somebody be selling a motor unless they just did an upgrade? If that's the case, maybe I could pick up a motor for $100, maybe $150. That would be kind of cool. And then be up and running for under $200. That wouldn't be a bad deal, because I do like it. But one of the things I noticed that after I did the rebearing, it'll still do wheelies, but not as good. I used to be able to pop a wheelie and ride a wheelie for about, I mean, pretty much as long as I wanted, 100 feet, 150 feet. But now it'll pop a wheelie and it'll maybe go 10 feet and then it drops on its own. So, and it still has the power, so something's going on with it where, and then when it's popping the wheelie, the front tires, they turn into pancakes, like saucers. So I'm thinking that something's going on where maybe the bearings or something, I must have not installed something correctly, and then when it pops a wheelie, it seems like all the power is going to the front wheels and not enough power is going to the rear wheels, and then that's why it just goes back down and it doesn't stay. It's like the power's not going to the rear wheels for whatever reason. But if you guys have any ideas on how I could fix this, I would really appreciate if you posted a comment. Alright, thanks for watching.